Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 3. So obviously, in only a matter of days, we have the highly anticipated finale for The Flash Season 3 with the episode entitled Finish Line. And one thing I know that I would like explained a bit better and, just put in more detail, and I'm pretty sure a handful or possibly a decent amount of you guys would also like this done, is the Philosopher's Stone and its true purpose and importance to this season's storyline, So yeah, as I said, I am hoping that in the finale for this season of The Flash, we do get more backstory and just an all-round explanation around and about the mysterious Philosopher's Stone. But in this video, I will be going over what we know about it up to this point in the season, which does include some new information from the most recent episode, which was obviously episode 22. Now, I could miss out on some slightly less important information on this topic, but if I do, please feel free to let me know in the comment section down below of any other information or facts that you feel should have been mentioned in this video. And also, just to quickly mention, this actually will be my last bonus video, if you want to call it that, for The Flash Season 3, before the finale. Some stuff could happen in the finale, which would require me to do a video afterwards, but this is my last bonus video before the finale, so it would be awesome if you could leave a like, just to, show your support, because it's been awesome doing these videos over the season, and it's always a bit emotional when you get to your last one before the finale, but it'd be awesome if you could leave a like on the video, just to, as I said, show your support. Now, we have commonly heard the name Philosopher's Stone used throughout this season, but the stone was also referred to as the Brahmastra, I think that's how they pronounced it, in episode 9, when it was discovered that someone known to the group had a dissertation about an ancient Hindu weapon with quite incredible powers, one of which was creating metahumans. This was the episode where the team learnt about Julian Albert being Dr. Alchemy and stuff like that. So throughout Indian lore, so Hindu lore and stuff like that, the Brahmastra, hopefully I am pronouncing that correctly, is an incredibly destructive weapon with nothing out there to stop its power than another Brahmastra. Now, this could come into play in the finale if the stone is needed to be destroyed in order to actually defeat Savitar, so I don't know how they would necessarily do that, but that could be pretty damn interesting. We did learn in episode 22 that the Philosopher's Stone is made of calcified Speed Force energy. So essentially, it is a ridiculous amount of Speed Force energy deposited into a very, very small object, and as we've seen this season, the stone isn't that big. It's about the size of a donut, I guess? I don't know. They have mentioned earlier this season that the Philosopher's Stone seem to have the same setup of molecules as Savitar's suit, which they were able to tell from Savitar's blade that Barry cut off back in episode 15. So this does suggest that Savitar's suit is made from Speed Force energy as well, or it is a physical creation of the Philosopher's Stone. So this suit is actually created by the Philosopher's Stone, but saying that the Philosopher's Stone is calcified Speed Force energy, then technically the Savitar suit would be made from Speed Force energy. So I guess they're both the same thing. Now, what exactly can the Philosopher's Stone do? What have we seen it do so far this season? Now, the things we know it can do are, it can restore the metahuman abilities to those that had them within Flashpoint. We saw this with Edward Claris, aka the Rival, Frankie Kane, aka Magenta, Shade, Clive Yorkin, and our own Wally West, aka Kid Flash. It can also, going off one of the acolytes of Savitar, take away metahuman abilities. We haven't actually seen this actually happen, but I'm pretty sure he mentions it to Killer Frost. But if it can just take them away from anyone, doesn't that mean it could also just give powers to anyone as well, not necessarily just those from the Flashpoint timeline? So maybe the fact that the Philosopher's Stone was giving it to people from the Flashpoint timeline was just a storyline thing due to Savitar knowing that Barry had created Flashpoint and stuff like that, and was trying to make Barry feel that everything was his fault. But I don't know, they haven't really gone into any more depth about if the Philosopher's Stone can create just anyone into a metahuman. Now, we have seen it cause hallucinations or visions of deceased family members to certain people as a means of getting things done. We know Julian had visions of his sister. We didn't actually see them, but we heard about them. We saw Cisco have visions of his older brother Dante, and we also saw Wally have visions of his mother Francine. And this could also be related to how, when they go into the Speed Force can create, representations of people, of dead people especially, we've seen Ronnie, Eddie, and Nora, who are people who aren't necessarily connected to the Speed Force. So this could be because it can contain Speed Force energy, it's doing things that the Speed Force can also do, but in a more physical way, because the Speed Force just can't represent something out in our existence. Well, we haven't experienced that at least, but maybe the stone, because it's so powerful, can do this. And the last thing we know it can do, going off scenes from the show, is counter other Speed Force based or powered attacks. This includes the Speed Force bazooka from the conclusion of last episode, as well as just like general lightning being thrown at the wielder of the stone, who is obviously Savitar. We did see in episode 16 that Jesse Quick like threw lightning at Savitar, which he just like absorbed and then like propelled it back at her, but in like a more powerful manner. And then we also know that the stone can shoot those beams. That we saw him do that at Barry. Now, we haven't really had it explained too much, but it almost feels as if the stone can like negate Speed Force access for a short time. So if they shoot that beam at Barry, because it's made of Speed Force and they're shooting it at a Speedster who obviously has the Speed Force running through them, it takes that Speed Force away from them, not completely, but just for a short amount of time. So they're almost like stunned, but not completely stunned. It's just their speed is stopped for a short amount of time. But now let's go through some things that the stone could also be doing on the show, but it hasn't been 100% confirmed or hinted to at this time on the show. Obviously in the finale this could change completely, and like one or more of these could be confirmed as being a result or power of the Philosopher's Stone. But we would have to wait and see obviously until the finale, but here are some of the things that the stone could be doing. As I sort of alluded to earlier with how the stone like counters other Speed Force based attacks, this could all be connected back to the suit. So in turn you would think the stone is also powering the big metal suit of Savitar. We did see Savitar pull the stone out of like nowhere after blocking the efforts of the Speed Force bazooka in last episode. So you would have to think it like slots somewhere in the suit to give it power. Like it's, you know, it just looks like it would slot somewhere. Also, if you look at the stone, it sort of glows in a very, very similar way to Savitar's suit. So it makes you think that either the suit is sort of like, as I said, powering it, or they're made of the same material. Another trait of the Philosopher's Stone is that it could be able to control the suit. Now, that's different than it powering it. It's actually just able to control the suit. And we saw an example of this when Barry was attacked by it without Savitar Barry actually being inside of it. As I did say earlier, it could be that both the stone and the suit are made of the same material from the Speed Force, which creates like a sort of connection that allows the suit to be mobile without an actual driver, if you want to call it that, within the actual suit. So we don't know if Savitar Barry was controlling that Savitar suit without him in it, or if it was just because Savitar Barry's like the possessor of the Philosopher's Stone, the suit feels the need to protect the person who owns the stone, if that makes sense. But once again, hopefully that is something that gets explained in the finale, because it just sort of happened and he just went, oh, my suit's pretty cool, isn't it? It's much cooler than yours. But there wasn't any proper explanation into that. Now, seeing that the stone is made of Speed Force and so could the suit, that could actually be the thing that's protecting Savitar from Time Wraiths and the Black Flash. Because he is a Time Remnant, so he should be, you know, being hunted down by those two things, either the Time Remnant, the Time Wraiths, should I say, or the Black Flash. Like, he should 100% be being hunted down by them. But obviously, he isn't. So you would have to think it's because of the suit or the Philosopher's Stone, because you would think that both of them are made from Speed Force energy, that when he's actually within them, he's technically within the Speed Force and not out of the laws of like the Black Flash and Time Wraiths, which would make him like on their wanted list, if that makes sense. So if you have watched Legends of Tomorrow this season, in Season 2, you would remember that Eobard Thawne couldn't use his powers because as soon as he did that, he was able to be tracked down by Black Flash. So what if with Savitar, he actually is, you know, sort of on the wanted list by the Time Wraiths and Black Flash, but his powers work in a different way, that he's actually not using powers that can be tracked because he's using the natural Speed Force energy. As we see with his lightning, it almost looks like the inside of the Speed Force, which is basically tying everything together, that the stone is extremely central to this storyline, and I think it's actually going to be the solution to this season. And that is, destroy the stone, Savitar isn't protected anymore. He becomes extremely vulnerable. I don't think it necessarily means like if they destroy the stone, like he just dies, because I think that would be a bit of a anticlimactic ending. Like if the actual villain was the stone, so you're, you know, defeating just a thing that sits there, that would be a bit of a, yeah, as I said, anticlimactic. But what would happen is if they destroy the stone, you would think the suit becomes almost, you know, pointless. It becomes irrelevant. It becomes redundant. Savitar Barry can't use it, and he actually has to get out of it. But then he becomes vulnerable and at threat of Black Flash and Time Wraiths and them trying to get him. But I don't think it's a coincidence that the stone sort of became irrelevant, probably since episode 15. Like once Wally gave that extra little piece to Savitar, we really didn't hear of the stone until last episode, when it appears that the stone is what stopped the Speed Force bazooka from working. So I think it's actually going to be very, very relevant to the finale. So that's really why I wanted to make this video, because the Philosopher's Stone just appeared in episode 22, basically stopped Barry from capturing Savitar or putting him in the Speed Force prison. So you think it's going to be relevant to what's going to happen in the finale, and I think Barry's going to realize that the stone is extremely central to actually defeating Savitar. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, it'd be awesome if you leave a like on it. As I said before, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below if I did miss out on anything in regards to the Philosopher's Stone, like any major moments this season revolving around it. And of course, if you have any other questions about it, because I know this can be a bit of a confusing topic to go over, not necessarily what I talked about in the video, but just because the stone looks like it's going to be a big part come the finale, but it's sort of been absent for a lot of the season. So, you know, it can be weird, you know, focusing on something that's so big that hasn't really been focused on a lot throughout the rest of the season. So if you have any other questions around it, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below and I'll try to get back to you. And of course, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you later, guys, and goodbye.